I'm not sure if the patch changed anything.
Hmm.
It probably did, but I can't
It's
remember
like a
how big.
nudge. It's like a
Yeah,
nudge of a patch. You know, it's like,
It's
oh,
a
these
hefty
numbers go
nudge there.
up, kind of deal. Yeah.
Nudged her right off a cliff there in terms of, well, almost a reverse cliff. Pick up that Enchantress on Mind Games here. So we've got a relatively solid idea of their draft. What sort of thing are they building towards here, do you think, Trent?
Looks like some very early aggression if they want to. Like if they, for example, went for their own sort of like mid spirit here last, they can be very active, very aggressive. They can just like start running at towers. If they wanted to do like the Dawnbreaker 1 or I guess they can also do the mid Dawnbreaker depending on the matchup with what they wind up with. So whatever their last core is though needs to be a pretty solid like safe, like a not literal safe laner, like a laner who will not get bodied by like a really hard counter pick, because like they're very telegraphed right now. Sure, they can mix it up a little bit, but Dawnbreaker and Lycan are kind of similar in how they play the lane. Like they can both get through it, Lycan through his wolves, or Dawnbreaker just by having like a somewhat decent support. But I wouldn't say they have like necessarily like big winning lanes right now. So the most important thing for them will be like, where are we standing at 10 minutes, and when we go to play with our Enchantress.
If this is offlane Dawnbreaker, like offlane Dawnbreaker plus Snapfire, that doesn't sound too easy for the Alchemist, right? Like you can still do quite all right against him, but it's Pari Parni now that actually do steal the Alchemist away. So they'll have that big, chunky farmer to play with.
Could they feasibly play this in the off lane? We've seen OG do that a fair amount. We've seen, I think Secret did it. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's also possible. In China, it's played on 5 the most, by the way. It's like position 5, 90% of the games.
That's a good one. I like that build a lot, actually.
What builds? You don't have anything, just brown boots.
Well, you know, stunning. You press stun. It's good. That's the build to me. You know, the levels. I'm a support player. I don't think items when you say build. I think skills. You know, items are a condition of how my success goes with my skills. I don't depend on them.
It's luxury. Items are a luxury.
And just because your
stuck
build
in the
is
2013 days when I had obs in one slot. I hope to get a 4 staff before the game ended. Could fit it in there next to my dust, obs, sentries.
And every single one of those would take their own slot. TP, ops, sentry, dust, smoke, you're out of items. That's
brown
it.
boots.
Item slots, brown boots. Yeah, that's it.
Brown boots are a luxury in that case.
You had to use smokes on the courier because like you couldn't even get it in your slots. Hard life.
And also, to be fair, like a build is still a build if it's very minimal. Like if you build a shack in the desert, you've still built a house, as far as I'm concerned. What closes this out then for these two teams? What do Pari Parni need to build an effective draft here?
I feel for Mind Games that have this last pick, they need a carry, right? It's kind of obvious that they need some last pick carry. Give me an anti-mage here. Let's go. Something crazy. Probably not going to happen, but yeah, we'll see. What's left in the pool as well? Jug has been banned out.
Could they not play the Lycan carry?
They could. They don't have any setup for Mortimer's Kisses as well this time around. My mind instantly went to Void. Void is banned as well. Void, Jug, gone. Is TB still in the pool? Perhaps versus Zeus, it would be hard. Instead, they go for Ursa.
How do you think about this?
Right. And they go for the Centaur instantly, by the way. Okay, well, I mean, they just snapping the Centaur into a bear, which sounds kind of depressing. But well, speaking of depressing, Depresskid does take the Zeus, so he again will be hitting the damage. But this is a very different Alchemist-looking game. Like last game, we had Mind Games like pressuring towers and sort of buying that sort of space. But what's Pari Parni going to do with their early game with their Alchemist? I feel like they'll be looking for kills. They will not be just looking for towers.
Could it as well? It's the 3 very good Ags heroes here as well on the Cent and the Zeus, and also, to be fair, the Clockwork as well. So they can go pretty late here and build up a huge Ags advantage if they want.
But that's super later on, right? That's ultra late game. I don't think that's... As Munkushi, you still have to be the true carry here, get some AC, whatever, Battle Fury or what your build is. But I don't mind Pari Parni's draft that much once again. I think Centaur isn't bad into a bear. Like, your laning stage is actually not too horrible. What is it? Centaur plus Hoodwink versus Enchantress plus Ursa. It can go either way, but I think Centaurs should be fine. We'll see. You can still lose to a bear if you get a couple of extra Fury swipes on you, but can they def versus? I guess they pick it as well to build items that can def against the Lycan, right? Like you can stand up front and defend towers.
Yeah, I don't know. I see a team that's very dependent on kills, and I see a Dawnbreaker mid. So I'm concerned for Pari Parni. I feel like there's a chance they kind of get a little too aggressive. They die a bit. They struggle to make space for the Alk, but their scaling is definitely there for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm biased. That's how I feel for Pari Parni. Player, too many stacks and Bignum as well. Too many stacks I had to play against. I can't watch them anymore. But yeah, on paper their draft looks a little bit more stable. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, Lizard's PTSD aside, can Pari Parni concoct something up with this Alchemist to gain our first win in the DPC? We're going to find out with the gruesome twosome. It's Avo and SeekNStrike.
Well, I don't know. We're gruesome. This is a new one, Richie. Yes. Yes, indeed. I would love to hear you, Richie. As we get into game number 2 between Pari Parni and Mind Games, very exciting match because we see the Alchemist now swapped over to Pari Parni, and they're gonna figure out if it was the Alchemist or if they were the problem. This is it's more of an emotional game for them than it is for the points here. I don't think the Alk draft is as good as last time, though. I think the panel touched on a couple good points, and particularly, I was looking at Mind Games draft. I think their biggest thing is definitely lack of stuns, but they also have the perfect draft for a lack of stuns, which is a run-at-you draft with Lycan, Ursa, Dawnbreaker, and then it doesn't seem as good as a result.
Yeah, and crucially, right, they've got a good core-to-core into this Alchemist, right? Like, yes, you know, NP can slam as many auto attacks as he wanted to an Alchemist, but if he's healing 100 HP a second with no way to reduce that and no way to further amp your damage, like with Fury Swipes, there's just no way you're winning that 1v1. Fortunately for Ursa, right, he does have those Fury Swipes, as they belong more on a bear than they do to a Nature's Prophet.
We also have a Lycan strat, right? In the late game, the scaling of the Ags into for the Ursa, which was very popular at TI when people were like, "Oh, Tiny's banned. What do we have to do with the Lycan?" And they just figured out the Ursa was an equal good replacement. So I do like the scaling, honestly. At least until like 30 minutes. It might even be good
with like a Dawnbreaker, right? A hero that also could benefit from this, has the Luminosity crit that did get buffed, is a hero that still builds Echo Saber, right? You got 2 decent targets.
You know, I like that because the Dawnbreaker gets shard, right? It's free pathing for the Starbreaker. So imagine this wolf just like running through the units. I like that idea actually. I'm kind of sold. So yeah, I like the Ags here for the Lycan. And it's not like you're gonna get many items besides the Dom or rather the Overlord. So if you rush it afterwards, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's either that or AC, right?
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to go into here. They still might end up deciding to go for like a Wraith Pact, right, given how strong that item is. But no,
you think they go for both?
No, I don't think you can. I think it's too expensive. Wraith Pact's like not crazy expensive, but then having to double up on the Vlads is not good.
Yeah, it just feels bad. That's why. I feel like Lycan is not a hero that can afford to go for Wraith Pact too often. And since this game is not a bad game for creeps, I think Petushar will just commit to the Helm of the
Very
Overlord.
true. Yeah, they covered him right with this Ench pick, Marana not picked here, so nothing else that can really be a nuisance for the creep. Something like a Maiden. Immersion taking a lot of damage here in the early levels, but kind of needs to. Surprised when Kushi decides to mirror this with his first point in Unstable Concoction, because there's just not really that easy of a kill here. Like, yes, you force Bignum to take the first point in the attendance for the heal, but that also means Munkushi doesn't really get much benefit out of the first point in Unstable Concoction. I don't know, I just feel like that's a losing trade for them here. Not as strong as a lane, even as like something like Snapfire and Alchemist was last game.
I would agree. I'd say that, I mean, you want to go 1-1-1 no matter what, I think, on Alk at the first levels, particularly in this lane. But Acid Spray would maybe do a little bit more, however it pushes the lane. Maybe just go for the Grievous Greed, but you find it a little bit too weak. Like, it might just be a deterrent for the enemy team to gank you, though Petushar does not care. He's just attacking.
No, he doesn't. And to Munkushi's credit, it's very difficult to the CS advantage that Petushar has. Decent animation, very high base damage, right? It's kind of difficult. Munkushi not bad either. 65 currently here with a double bracer build, or maybe the double gauntlets of strength. Pardon me. But yeah, I will Immersion. Oh, careful here. Not finding it easy, right, to get those battery assaults. Yes, they do more damage to wolves now, but Petushar just resummons more of them and they tank even more.
Yep. And because they went for the buckler early as well on Putushara, the damage, the physical damage from both Alk and Clockwork is minimized. So you don't have as much of that extra bit of damage on top of the battery assault. So you depend solely on battery assault, and like you said, it's better against wolves, but it's not enough to get solo kills against Lycan, who has really good base stats. Even a decent base armor, even if his agility gain is crap. And a great attack animation. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's one of my favorite ones in the game. It's actually super easy to last it on Lycan.
Yeah, agreed. I think even like some other heroes like Jug is sometimes maybe a little bit too fast. Like this animation, it's in the Goldilocks zone for me. You know, sure he's not a bear, that would be Ursa, but the animation is in a sweet spot, I would say.
Right, he's the human that takes advantage of the bears, which is good. And I like it especially because if you get used to animation canceling run, it's actually kind of easy. It takes away the only weakness, which is this massive build-up he has when he opens up his arms. Bottom, heaven. We have an Earthshock. I think he might just die here. Does he have a Bushwhack? He does not, so he's just gone. That was easy. Top lane, though.
Yeah, Petushara this time taking a bit of a beating. Big Num, though, in a good position here to provide some good healing, so Immersion's going to be forced back. And yeah, the only other thing I'll say about this top lane, as far as like interesting things that I've scouted, is Immersion's decision to go for the early Wind Lace. It's not early boots. He does need to buy a couple more support items here. Super early smoke coming to him now on the courier, so thinking if he's thinking about like going to another lane with that. Dawnbreaker's not an easy gank. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, Dawnbreaker can just get away with a Celestial Hammer, right? So
exactly, yeah. So I'm not sure what his idea is with that smoke. Eager to see how he puts it to use. Maybe he's just buying it early, which is fine. But 80 gold is kind of a lot for a support in the laning stage. It's almost a full stack of tangos, and you can see like his tangos are basically already gone. He's had to pull one to Munkushi, and he's likely to eat the second one as they go skirmishing yet again.
It also reveals the smoke intention when they see your inventory, right?
Yeah,
which is
very true.
It defeats the purpose of the smoke to a degree. So I'm interested in what that is for. But we'll see. Maybe it's just a warding smoke as well. That could also be the
oh,
case.
very true. Yeah, very well could be. But Petushara, I mean, like the story in this top lane is Petushara is killing it, right? 14 and 15 is out denying, out CSing Munkushi here. So yeah, maybe it's just a smoke to get Alk into the jungle faster. I'm not really sure because this top lane's not going swimmingly.
Oh, it could also be an anti-wolf smoke actually on that point. Like if you're being chased by wolves, you smoke, and that way you don't get killed by the units. That's not even that crazy. That's a good use for this.
Not too crazy. Not too crazy. Not
or you also might just buy it for the cooldown as well, right? Like it might just be there's no theory behind it.
Yeah, you just start stacking them. Sure thing. Sure thing.
Yeah, see, there's the creep harassment from the Enchantress. We have the Enchant now level 2, so now you actually get a big enough creep to harass the Clockwork. Let's look at other lanes, though, because we've talked a lot about this top lane. Mid lane, pretty even matchup. It's kind of a farming matchup here. This is the build we've seen on Zeus a lot. I was surprised the panel hadn't seen this. Yesterday I was talking to Winter about this, and he was convinced Zeus was kind of
ulti? Bottom? Okay.
Yeah, bottom.
Heaven is okay.
Yeah, that was not... that was a very helpful ultimate.
Yep.
You know, Dawnbreaker is not like the MP where you can just like TP and get a kill. It's more of, oh, the enemy team's going on me. Now I go. Right?
Yeah, either that or you need like a shaman shackling someone, you know, and then you can jump in on that. It's very... This is why like I tend to not enjoy the Dawnbreaker as a safe laner, as Ursa is actually in trouble. Maybe this is when you would want to have, for example, use an ulti, but they obviously get it on cooldown now. But yeah, you need a little bit of setup here with the Dawnbreaker. But back to the Zeus build, this is also the build that I've seen Thompson go for as well. The 404 build, Heavenly Jump being very useful in the lane, especially versus melee melee mid laners, as a tool to make it more difficult to CS, because you apply that slow, which is incredibly annoying when you're trying to reach a creep to last hit it.
Yeah, the cast time increase also makes it hard for you to catch Zeus because your mid-cast on your stun. The Zeus completely stops it as well. We might see this here with a Cookie, but there's no mana actually for the Snapfire, so she's just gonna die. But yeah, I've seen this build a lot. I think Zeus is actually pretty, in a really strong spot right now, especially because he's being flexed as a 4 as well. Different build, but same concept of high damage hero, just with a bit more de-warding adding to it. And he's gonna get the high damage on the bottom tier on Ursa.
Yeah, I was taking a look at what Pasha's got actually flying out. I was concerned it was the full Vanguard, but it isn't, since they fight top.
Okay, those cogs were enough to deter Big Nim, apparently. He was like, alright, I'm not going to chase that far. Interesting.
It's just phase boots earlier for Pasha, and the brown boots. Big ol' magic wand as well, keeps him relatively safe from the Ursa Warrior. With his 1-2-2 build, so 2 points in Double Edge and 2 points in that Retaliate. They did really buff Hoof Stomp, so you can now just kind of leave it at level 1 comfortably as they go a second time here into the mid lane for Pasha, and this time have more than enough damage for the kill.
there's the cookie setup we talked about, right? That's hard to accomplish, but if you get it, it's an easy way to make sure the Dawnbreaker can join for the kill. It's important to deal with the Centaur early, make sure he doesn't take the tower. Eventually, he will be a bit of a nuisance once he gets the Vanguard. And I don't know, push the Ursa out of the lane, but certainly has ganking potential to kill the Ursa if he's not careful. So it's important to deal with him now before he's strong enough.
And speaking of a pushing nuisance, we check back up top lane, right? We've talked about other lanes for 3 minutes. Back to top we go as Petushara is going to shape shift. Prescott does make the rotation on over, but of course Petushara is as swift as the wolves of Ice Rack, and so he'll very easily evade here the rotating Zeus.
I would hope he's faster. Those wolves do not seem very fast, judging by CM getting nerfed yet again in terms of base stats.
Yes, she did.
But
well,
Petushara,
they die very swiftly. That's what they do, right?
Yeah, that's true. They're gonna find the Enchantress here. Good cogs. The wolves are not gonna mitigate the damage enough, so that's gonna be a kill on Bignum, making this Zeus rotation a bit more worth it. I think that was the goal for Petushara, though. Kind of deal with Zeus before he gets the Helm. Now we all have Helm, and Zeus has already committed the rotation. So if Zeus rotates again once the Helm is up, then Zeus is committing a lot of effort into the top lane, and they have liberty to kill Centaur down bottom, which is exactly what the play is here for Mind Games.
Yep, Aincrad making the rotation. This time not using the Solar Guardian. Pasha, though, is a little tanky, and they won't dive him underneath a tier 1 tower. What was I going to say? I saw something interesting there, but they can't quite remember it now. As Pasha, he's just tanky. Yeah, they can't quite kill him. That is going to be the maxed build here for the Scatter Blast, as Aincrad is scouted. He can Solar Guardian away. Well, now he can't, as he is caught here by the Bushwhack of Heaven. And DePrescott will be seeing him back up on Mount Olympus there.
Is that where you go when you die? I don't think that's how it works, mate. I think it's
well, it was a joke because of like Heaven, you know, and Mount Olympus, right? Heaven being the name of the position 4 player.
Is Mount Olympus Heaven? I don't think so.
That's where you go if you're good in Greek mythology. You certainly don't go down to Hades.
It's Elysium.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same place, isn't it?
They're literally opposite from each other.
Oh,
Slayer caught here by the Bushwhack. We have the Hoof Stomp ready as well.
Oh.
The rotation from the Dawnbreaker, though, she wants to counter-initiate this. They do kill Heaven. Slayer will fall for this, however, as the Starbreaker hits Pasha. More rotations. Immersion joining them now. Aincrad trying to keep himself healthy, but hitting Pasha is not the best target for that, as the Prescott has run out of mana. There's the help from the Arcane Boots, and now for one little jump. And the Unstable Concoction plus the Hoof Stomp will guarantee the kill here onto the enemy mid laner. Not that worthwhile, Solar Guardian.
No, that was very, very bold, I might say. I mean, it's space created, I suppose, for top lane, where Petushara has taken that tier 1 tower now with his Helm operational, right? Bignum as well, getting to work there with the level 3 enchants yet again. And he's, you know, if you call Beastmaster Broodmother Light, then I would say this kind of like and play style is Beastmaster Light, right? And he moves into the jungle and kind of starts taking it over. So at least you give him space to do this, and perhaps now get a mid-tier 1 tower, as he does kind of start rotating over in that vicinity.
And the Prescott has been found. Little jump, though. Petushara will still chase after him as Heaven keeps the dog leashed. And here's Munkushi to join with a double damage. Petushara knows he has to keep his distance. Wow. They get the Prescott thanks to the rotation there, or rather the existence of Aincrad.
Oh, and they might even get Heaven.
More. They really do want Heaven. However, Heaven is playing well around the trees. Another great Bushwhack. He gets rid of the Helm of the Dominator creep. That's a big deal. Petushara feels like he's been played here.
Yep. I don't know if he got the bounty on it. Petushara did take Centaur Conqueror. I'm not sure. I didn't quite catch it, if he got the gold or not. But either way, Munkushi having to get involved a little bit earlier than perhaps he'd like. He's only got this 1 point in the Grievel's Greed. So what does this cap out at? Caps out at 15. But I haven't really seen him at 15 stacks too frequently this game, especially with 35 denies in the laning stage for Petushara. It's been pretty brutal here for an Alchemist.
Yeah, it's true. And they don't really have much space to recover because, like you said, Beastmaster Light, right? He's just covering your whole jungle, using the wolves to scout. It's difficult for the Alk to find a safe space to farm. And Alk is not the best triangle farmer out there. He rather has the many camps. Hook shot. Okay. All right, just wanted to see Petushara for a second, but that sets up for the Solar Guardian counter initiation. Petushara now stuck in the cogs. Aincrad joins him and dies the cogs. Petushara will die to the Zeus damage as Aincrad tries to get away. Mortimer's kiss to help this retreat, but Munkushi, he's not afraid of any kisses. He's going to use the Unstable Concoction, find Bignum. Low on armor is Bignum, but still has the untouchable. Aincrad slowing down Munkushi. And with the Helm of the Dominator creep, they might just get the press kid. Another Unstable Concoction for Bignum. Bignum is committing for this. And they will get the press kit. Now body blocks from Munkushi. The face
stop
will
in a
help him,
second.
but the cookie will hit him. Munkushi will die here. Look at that Lycan impact. Not even being alive for this.
Yeah, that was really, really clutch by him. I just simply not respecting the Centaur Conqueror. I mean, honestly,
No.
that guy, he stomps for sure. And yeah, I mean,
That's what he does. Yeah.
That's what he does. Not to just mention, you know, the Broodmother, you know, Beastmaster, like, and kind of moving into your jungle. But Bignum as well, he reduces your jungle efficiency with a chant, right?
Yeah.
Like, he just takes a creep every 20, soon to be 16 seconds. That's a lot of gold for an Alchemist. 30 denies in lane, like, yeah, that's kind of just the entire reason why this guy's the poorest hero of all the cores, pardon me, not in the entire game. Another hook shot here for Immersion. That won't even save his life. Petushar's got another shapeshift ready. Full Vlads as well, not to mention. But they will not go diving here. They actually never got this tier 1 tower mid.
Roche?
So that is going to be... Oh, Roche?
Yeah, that's an interesting proposition. Do
Seems
they have
a
any
little
little
bold. They don't. They shouldn't, right?
Oh, they have Ursa.
Yeah.
But never mind, it's not bold. The Radiant, they have Ursa, Richie. That's it. That's all the explanation you need.
I suppose. I mean, maybe they had the Stampede timing down, but there's no Chemical Rage. There is no Zeus ulti either. So yeah, that was very fast.
Yeah,
Very
well done.
easy there for Mind Games. And they're just going to set up yet again here in the enemy jungle and reduce the space that this Alchemist has to farm in.
Yeah, I
This
mean, he
is-
can still take the triangle, which we're seeing here. They got some stack of Ancients, but it just takes longer, and it's a less efficient way to farm for Alk. But like we said, once a lot of small creeps. So
Yeah,
Munkushi
and
is recovering slowly.
It forces your other cores to take much more dangerous farm, right? Because right now, without taking the off lane, or I suppose the safe lane tier 1 tower of Mind Games, there's not a lot of space on the map where Pari can safely farm. Centaur, you know, he's a little bit invulnerable because he's very tanky, but Zeus is certainly not.
Yeah. As we saw Bignum thinking about it here in the top lane. Zeus is going for the Kai and Sanj build, which hopefully is a build that's a little bit more active. Well, I'm assuming, is he Kaya? I'm hoping that's going to be Kai and Sanj eventually. Very popular build on Zeus these days. But usually the 404 build is a farming build to a degree as well. So it's not just that he's vulnerable, is that he's supposed to take up resources in the map, and Alk makes that impossible. Or Lycan does as well. So we're in a difficult position where Pari Parni has to at least deviate what they usually do with these heroes and not play them optimally to find the space to farm.
Not to, I mean, to bring it up, right? Ursa, speaking of farming, he is not only out farming this Alchemist by about 500-600 gold, he's also about to finish up his Battle Fury.
Oh.
And that is going to be an item. I suppose he's thinking that I can actually manage to outpace this Alchemist and bring the fight
You
to
would.
relatively early.
Yeah, he's thinking Richie can outpace this Alchemist.
Yes, I can do it. Pasha is going to maybe outpace the Wolf here. He has Stampede. Tushar also has Shapeshift, but they'll just let Pasha walk away. They're more interested right now in the Tier 1 tower.
Yeah, it's Vanguard, right? So it's like, there's no point in enforcing it too hard. I do think the Ursa can outpace him. Also, this Battle Fury build, I saw it, it never left China. Like, in China, where we saw the Ursa more commonly, they actually played a lot of Battle Fury Ursa, and it seemed pretty good. It allows you to scale, and you kind of just need teammates that are able to create space for you early, and it's been more popular than Diffusal Blade in some regions. I think it does give you a lot more versatility when it comes to the playstyle of the hero. Not so much to the, I run at you, I win the early game. If I don't win the early game, GG, right?
Yeah, I could still certainly see a Diffusal Blade being viable this game versus a Zeus, right? Just a feel-good item.
And an Alk, actually, is
yeah.
very good against Alk.
But, you know, given that he had a really good start to the lane and Alchemist, well, clearly did not, I would say that, you know, the Battle Fury might be the right option for him this game.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Mind Games still defending their Tier 1 tower here. Once again, it's only seen with a Slayer kind of in a bit of a dangerous position. Arne looking for something in this mid lane, but probably only going to find really the tower. And in exchange, Mind Games are going to set up for the top Tier 2.
Okay. Mid Tier 1, though, giving for free. I guess the Centaur, you kind of have to do that. Oh, Hoodwink? That Bushwhack was attempting to catch Lycan, I believe. They have Shapeshift here, and they're just committing the Helm of the Overlord creep.
They did.
Push this
They
tower.
scattered all these TPs, though.
They did. Hook shot. Once again, everything for Bignum, but Bignum is happy to tank the initiation of this gank. Dinosauric is here as well. They're going to finish off Immersion, who was a little bit crazy with that play.
Yep. Yeah, I would certainly say so. That time the hook shot did hit a hero. It was the edge, but again, a very hard hero to kill. She's tanky. Strength can toggle on the strength treads. Has a dragon lance as well. That's another ogre axe in there, even more. a little bit more, right? 12 strength. So yeah, she's quite tanky for an Ench, even with that 1 point in the attendance. So they catch Zeus over in the mid lane, but they're not willing to really dive too far and meet that tower. Definitely respecting the balance here for Mind Games. They know that, you know, Alk is farming this entire time. He will be back in this game. If you kind of, you know, throw a couple silly deaths here and there against most other heroes, not that big of a deal. Against an Alchemist, he all of a sudden gets an entire item online.
There was another point as to why that happened, though. It was because the Ursa was farming this camp right next to the tower, right? And the Wild Wing creep pushed him over to the high ground with his Whirlwind. Unprompted. And he couldn't actually join that gank and kill the Zeus. It was ridiculous how lucky DPC Kid got with that. Because if Ursa was there, he just kills him. So
evading. He's got no brown boots, but does have himself this full Helm of the Overlord now on top of the Drums of Endurance.
Yeah, he's going for AC. He's going AC Ags. I like the build. I feel like maybe the Drums is a deviation I wouldn't have loved. But since you're dominating by so much, I get the point of Drums. You want to keep putting the pressure. And AC this game is so good. AC is great against Alk, and for many reasons.
Yep. Press Kid might be in a bit of trouble. That's going to be a max cap impetus. That was a lot of HP.
Triangle, though.
Mid lane.
Immersion. Yep. They kill Immersion first. Already did use the Enrage, though. He still has the Aegis. Actually, he just lost it.
You
just
lost
it.
Aegis.
He propped the Stampede. There's the help from Minecraft, though, trying to keep the Ursa alive. Mortimer gets 2. He's hitting the Centaur, though. He's going to die hitting the Centaur. Pasha does fall. He's to Aincrad. As Petushara joins the fray. They go for the out. They want carry for carry, and they will fight Munkushi's blood. As Immersion dies as a freebie here. The Press Kid trying to run away, but there's a cookie here on the Lycan. Allows him to jump over for the Press Kid, get that kill. Heaven won't be able to help him. It's going to be a team wipe for Mind Games, sacrificing the Ursa for 5 heroes.
Yeah, very nicely done. Petishara even staying alive as well, tanking up underneath the tier 2 tower. He's going to put the boys to work as well, and that'll be a tier 2 here. Fairly early on. That's, you know, usually what you want to use your first Aegis for anyway. You cast your Curse's Aegis, you set Aegis with much uncertainty, and then it left. And that was very poor timing for Ursa. But I think Mind Games perfectly fine with this. They might even get a full lane of racks, excuse me, Lycan.
Yep.
Lycan. At least the important ones.
They just take the other one with a Enchantress Creep, I think. That's a Dark Troll Summoner.
Yeah.
Oh, this is dumb. The Lycan is dumb. Yep.
There it is.
I mean, this is something that I feel like Pari Parni did not consider when taking this fight, which is Ursa is not the only core in this team, right? Not only is Dawnbreaker, I mean, he went for Desolator, so not only is Dawnbreaker a full-on core of this game, but especially in the first 20-25 minutes, he's probably one of the strongest ones, and Lycan also fulfills that. You have like 3 win conditions you have to deal with. So killing the Ursa is not getting rid of the enemy team damage. They have 2 other heroes to do that.
Yeah, Munkushi also, he feels pressured to join that fight to the extent where he actually did not have Chemical Rage available. It was on cooldown for 15 seconds when I checked and he was dead. So it was straight up was on cooldown the entire time, right? So yeah, I mean, they're feeling the pressure here, certainly.
Did he have BKB? Was it completed by the fight or no?
I don't believe so. I do not believe he had BKB. That CD rune is going to be picked up. That'll reveal the smoke here, but it still is likely a kill here onto Petushara, especially with BKB active. A nice blink back, though, by Aincrad, as they do sacrifice here the Lycan to the gods, and they'll just let everyone else leave. Quite content there with getting the BKB charge out from Munkushi.
Okay. I mean, so it's a gank that you kind of needed at that point. It's not going to be enough to put you back into the game, but it's a start. Lycan is starting the biggest space creator right now. Of course, taking the mid lane racks does hurt you a considerable amount. Ooh. Especially if Pasha dies with this. They didn't think Pasha's baiting. Bignum, though, is going to commit to this.
No uphill misses. A little unlucky. It's not going to be a kill regardless.
Yep. But there's just no way for Lycan. If I'm Mind Games, I just play around my shapeshift for now, let Ursa farm. You shouldn't be too concerned about the Alk. Yeah, he'll recover a little bit, but you're still in the driver's seat. And like you said, you have a good core-to-core between Ursa and Alk. Even Lycan's good against Alk.
And Mr. Bignum, no Fey Grenade for him this game, but he is holding on to the Essence Ring. So again, with Strength Treads and now the upgraded Hurricane Pike, he's clocking it at 2100 HP. Which is ridiculous here for the Enchantress this early on. So can certainly be like a smoke gank breaking kind of hero, but also can just kind of run at a couple of enemies this early on in the game, honestly.
Yeah, especially with Solar Guardian to keep you healthy. Like, you activate Nature Tendons, Solar Guardian on top of the Enchantress, who's gonna kill her? No way. Like Bignum just lives. Even if you hit her with Sharpshooter, I genuinely think she survives off the healing alone.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous here at this stage. AC is momentarily about to be finished up, but it looks like Petushara is in the line of fire again for this smoke. Good blink in from Pasha, sets up for the Bushwhack. Sharpshooter being charged, looking for that magic number 2. Solar Guardian yet again is going to be enough for now, even with the Zeus ulti, as fighting is Petushara, even living thanks to the grace of the Vlad's lifesteal. He falls, but not before he takes 2 with him, but he does leave Anchor at high and dry, as he is going to be anchored there thanks to the Bushwhack and killed off by Depressed Kid. But here comes Bignum, and now even more importantly, the Ursa. Fuzzy Wuzzy fighting, trying to find Depressed Kid, who did jump into the trees and is eventually caught and killed. Kill credit going to Ursa now as the Cookie Stun does catch Heaven, and with detection here, they should easily have now the 4th kill of this engagement. Well played here by Mind Games, who aren't afraid to let their cores die, still to win the fight.
That was the Ags rush on Slayer that Nsioma that allowed them to also get that kill on the Zeus. Well played. I mean, you're surprised when you see a 5 Snapfire with Ags, so I don't think you can really fault Pari Parni for that fight. It was a good proposition though. Mind Games actually misjudged a little bit how long it would take them to get to that fight, and that allowed Pari Parni to get 2 core kills. Not bad, but still the Ursa getting the gold towards the end of the engagement is kind of scary. Now Blink Dagger's 200 gold away, and that means he doesn't rely on the Snapfire gobble up to get into the fight.
And I'd just like to tie this back to something you brought up in the early game, right? When you contrasted the carry NP to a core Dawnbreaker, right? Dawnbreaker can't just like TP in and like find a kill with her ultimate the same way NP can, but she can come in at the tail end of a smoke gank like that and completely turn it around, right? When a hero's being initiated on. That and having a tier 1 tower still extremely healthy, giving your team a TP point, allows you to turn what should have been, or at least to Pari Parni, looked like a very easy solo kill into, well, now second Aegis, a huge one, right, for Ursa in control here. And they're actually going to gobble him up and spit him back out. They find Immersion, and that's a very easy kill. Nice job using the vision of the Invisible Wolves.
Yeah, I like that you make that point, because I feel like even though Dawnbreaker gets compared to MP because they're both cores, it's more similar to the IO. Because NP, when these ganks happen, MP goes in, you're like, oh, a freebie? Sure, I'll take it. Whereas Dawnbreaker or IO, especially IO with a relocate partner, right? It's the fear of God that gets put into you. Or you're like, I'm not really sure if I should be initiating onto the solo target, because Dawnbreaker can just join. And especially when you're near a tower, like was the case here, they're near the tier 1 up top, right? That tower needs to fall, because these TP spots are lethal for Pari Parni, who can't really gank any solo target without committing or losing a fair amount of heroes. It's good the Alk survived though, so at least Munkushi is capable of beating the Ursa finally net worth, but it's still not enough to make it, you know, like a domination. It's still not the Alk game you're used to.
Yeah, it's not enough, and okay, that's Pasha. They find the kill onto Seema the Slayer. Okay, there it was. I was hunting for it. It was over in the triangle. Tier 2 Tower Siege, I believe with that, will be put on pause for now for Mind Games, as they also use the Fortify. Immersion's hiding out in the trees. Ancient Black Dragon coming back to party. And, well, that'll be the tower then. Not much they could do there with no heroes showing for the siege. Talent will go, and perhaps even they catch Immersion here.
They will, I think.
Yep.
Dinosauric doesn't really care about the cogs.
No, he doesn't. He'll even farm one on his way out.
A great name, by the way. Every time I say it, he's just dinosaur, dude.
Oh, is that what it means?
I mean, I know that's what, like, a dino, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's the case. Maybe it's a false. What do they call them? Fake friends, I think.
Fake friends, yes. Maybe it's a fake friend. Maybe it's
No,
a
like,
flaky name.
No, I mean it. Like, it's like when a word means something in one language, it's something completely different in another language, right?
Isn't that just called languages?
No, it's like a fake ally. It's like the words that sound similar but mean completely different things. It's a thing. It's a thing linguists talk about.
You're just describing languages.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Thank you so much, producer. It does mean dinosaur. Great. Do you know the story, by the way, of how this guy got found? It was just Petushara needed a 5th, and he was playing in a pub, and this guy played well. He's like, you want to play for Mind Games? They qualified to a major. That was literally the story. What a guy.
Did. Yeah, I mean, in this team, a couple strokes of luck to get there right, and eventually they don't.
Sure.
But here they are now, about to take their first win, or seemingly like it, because I like this smoke play, trying to sneakily get into the enemy base. Oh, patience is going to pay off here, Avo. Oh, patience will pay off. The press kit is showing, and there they go. Zeus certainly not expecting this one, trying to avoid him. Cannot. The Gobble Up spits the Ancient Black Dragon at him, and they're going to get the +1 kill as Pasha is done by the Solar Guardian. Immersion's up next as Petushara eats him alive with the Shapeshift active, and that is certainly a bottom pair of barracks. Munkushi, what are you doing here?
He was hunting after Sioma, but Sioma played around the tree, and Sioma might actually survive this. No, one last hit here, but he wasted the whole BKB from Munkushi. Munkushi now wants to have a concoction, will try to turn around. The BKB will prevent this, and Munkushi will fall to the last hit here from the Ursa. Sioma literally kited him during the whole duration of the BKB. Just around that tree. This tree over here was what condemned Munkushi. That is wild.
GG. GG, well played. I love that move, actually, out from Mind Games. You expect those moves once the Megas are out and teams are turtling in their base, but this early on, I mean, it's not unheard of, right? It's not like this has never happened in the history of Dota or anything like that, but it certainly is a nice creative move there to be able to jump the Zeus or whoever was going to come back and defend that push first. I really liked that. Nice play from Mind Games there. They fight with that second Aegis, and they finish the game off there versus Pari Parni, and they find their first win.
Yeah, that was well played though by Mind Games. I think it was a very deserved win. I feel like Pari Parni though needs to go back to a drawing board. This Alk seemed more like a response pick than it was of like a planned pick. Like, oh, Alk is good. We should try it. But I wasn't a big fan of the Alk Zeus. I feel like you want a bigger, either a playmaking mid or a space creating mid. You know, like either you go for like the Invoker style or you go for the puck. I'm fine with either. Zeus, I don't think fits that role, especially when you first pick the Zeus, right? It's clearly you were drafting around him more so why Alk later? I'm not really sure. I think the strategy though by Mind Games was on point. I think Petushara, when he's on, dude. Today he was cracked. I feel like the Timber Saw and I like him with both amazing games, and it's nice to see Petushara when he's online. I feel like the guy might be a little bit inconsistent, but his ceiling is super high.
I agree. I also really like this draft and the way they played it, and also the way they all itemized around it. Like you called out Slayer there, Seamless Slayer, with his Ag Scepter. I think that went beautifully with your kind of global mobility. The way that Petushara, they drafted him a hero that was going to be playing, deep in the enemy jungle, giving you the opportunity to kind of enable this Dawnbreaker, right? And Dino and Bignum just playing fantastic games as usual. I think to wrap it up very nicely here is going to find them their first wins. Well played to Mind Games.
Yeah, well played to Mind Games. This puts Pari Parni in a super difficult position. They could still potentially avoid relegation, but at the same time, they have to now depend on other people's scores to a degree, and they have to do really well in the last 3 games of the season that they have left, as they're now 0-4. But to discuss all these intricacies and maths and numbers, which I don't really get, we have much more well-versed panel members, and we'll come back with them after a small break. So stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back. A tidy 2-0 there by Mind Games, and Pari Parni have more L's to their name than a Welsh village. I'm joined by Lizard and Trent to talk us through that game. What went so wrong there for Pari Parni, Trent?
Well, I mean, where to start? Okay, it wasn't as bad as it looks. You look at the skill or the kill score after, like, 26-13. Oh, they got and they got run down, and that's partially true. But I actually think that the scariest part of this game to me was when when that Aegis expired and they killed the Ursa, and I looked at that and I thought, oh man, if Pari Parni win this fight, they can actually bring this back, because Alchemist was the lowest core, and as Alchemist does, he had climbed all the way back to the top, and he is just getting his BKB. It wasn't there for the fight, but he was just about to get it, and they actually might have been able to turn that whole game right in that moment. And then they lose that fight, and they lose an entire rack, so now you're in economic disadvantage for the rest of the game, and it's very hard to come back. But they were actually surprisingly close. But I do think that their idea and concept around the Alchemist is just so much harder to make work than what Mind Games did in the previous match.
We've got an interview of Ironcrad coming up shortly, but Lizard, before we bring him in, why don't you hype him up? What did Mind Games do so well in that game?
He was all over the place, man. He was legitly bringing this game back into the bag. There was some Ursa struggling on the safe lane, getting dominated by Centaur as he thought he would, but he single-handedly reached out. He's like, come here, little bear. Come here, little cubby. I got you. Hop on my back. There. Is that enough of a hyping up?
I believe that is. I think we're ready to bring him in for an interview. Ironcrad, hello. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hey. You must be delighted to finally have some wins on the board. Talk me through that game. Were you expecting to win in such a dominant fashion?
Repeat the question, please. I don't really.
Oh, that's okay. Were you expecting to win that game so well? You won it very quickly.
I didn't expect, but we could. We got really good drafts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we expected to win, but not that easy. Yeah.
You have 3 wins now on the team. You have a win on the team after 3 losses. How's the mood in the team? Are you guys hyped up? Have you got really good morale now?
I believe we had pretty good morale every game of this tournament. Uh, we had a really bad draft against Runeters. First game of the patch was pretty tough for us. It was random. We could win, we could lose. One move just played better. We did better at scrims, but at official game we lost pretty hard. We did mistakes, couldn't fight our game. It's our... Who was the third game? I
can't
can't remember.
either. Probably best to forget the losses and focus on the wins. How have you
We lost
prepared?
a bad boom. We lost a bad boom, but
Yeah.
they were in good condition, and we had pretty close games. Just made a few errors late game. Didn't feel comfortable at our heroes at all. But we had better drafts. Yeah.
How did you go about preparing for this game? What sort of preparations did you make? Did you change anything up, or is it just about keeping the same things you were doing well?
We just reconsider our drafts. I mean, first phase, just priorities. Dawnbreaker is our super confident hero now, I believe. Just easy to play with his hero and easy to take Roshan, take towers, split map. It's like Spectre, but that's strong at early game. And just we don't lose side lanes so hard now. Have great synergy on side lanes.
I'm going to pass over to my analyst Lizard. Have you got any questions for Einkrad?
Yeah, sure. Like, congrats on win. Pozdravляю. I just want to ask. I see here Coach Arzik. Is he really your coach? I see it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, we have Arzik here.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he's there.
Okay, tell him that he didn't get any better at drafting, but you guys are making it work. It's looking great. I just want to ask one more thing. Like, talking about the Dawnbreaker, like, you guys are making it work. What do you think the best item build is? I see you going like some Blink Dezo. Some people are building Aghanims. Some are going Echo Saber. What's the best build?
I don't think Saber is good item at all. I think Dezo is must-have item because it gives you burst with shard. It has really great impact. You can burst supports, and depending on game, you can build BKB after shard Dezo or dagger. I believe these two builds are most comfortable for me. I don't think Aghanims is good because it's easy to kite this thing and easy to poke ulti, and then you are like
Disengage.
non-factor.
Yeah. Okay. That's it from me. Just 2 questions.
Let's hi Cred. Let's keep it focused on Dawnbreaker here. Now, if I'm coming up against you in the next series, what do I need to pick to beat Dawnbreaker?
Meepo.
This is where you give the bad advice, all right? You don't want to give them the real answer. Yeah. It's okay. You don't actually have to answer that. I'm just kidding. Don't worry.
Oh, wait. I can answer. I believe SF is really good against Dawnbreaker. Wins Smith very hard. Last hit every cape with 40 damage.
Okay.
And then you can go easy fast rush with Dragonlance on SF. So if you take it, it's free win. So take the advice.
This is good. This is good advice. This is someone who's not scared of giving out information because it just makes us all stronger and we'll all just get better at Dota together, right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
As a final question, you guys have got Na'Vi coming up next week. Are you well prepared for them? Are you looking forward to that game?
I believe we prepare each game at a time, so we're gonna start soon. I can only say that Na'Vi is, I believe, one of the best teams of this Div 1. They got pretty good chemistry on offlane. They got solo playing like games of his life, and no one is becoming worse and worse opponent with every game. So I believe they're growing with each game. So it's gonna be pretty hard game, but we found our game, and I believe we're gonna make a great battle.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to it a lot. Good luck with that. Thanks so much for joining us, and good luck with your games next week. We'll speak to you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Always good to hear from Ankrad. Excellent stuff there. Any final thoughts on that game and series, Lizard?
No, I'm just very confused. He said one of the drafts didn't work. I think the coach is going to be angry. I can't remember Arzik ever saying that his drafts are bad. That it's never him. It's always the players. But no, I'm just kidding. Overall, I think they just showed that they're a little bit higher skilled at the moment than Pari Parni is. They're more cohesive. The movements on the map. I think that this second game, Pari Parni definitely had a shot at winning it. And they also stole that Alchemist. They're like, okay, you can use the Alchemist, we can as well. And then they pair it with some Zeus. It's it's hard. They won the offlane. They had that frontliner. Same thing, same idea. Centaur frontline, Timber frontline, right? Like same kind of a deal. And Alchemist farms in the background. Zeus perhaps helps with the damage, but they just got outplayed.
Anything from you, Trent?
I'm a big Ankrad fan. That's the second time I've got to interview him, and he talks about whatever. I mean, that's why I would never ask another player something like that, but I know that he would be down to just answer it because he's not worried about that kind of stuff because he just knows that, hey, you want to try and counterpick me, then guess what? That suddenly that Dawnbreaker's a 3 or that Dawnbreaker's a 4 or a 5. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's cool to be able to ask their opinions on heroes. So I hope that Mind Games wins more games so I can talk to him again.
Well, Pari Parni have to now win, I'm pretty sure, all of their remaining games to stay up in the division. What do you think they need to do to turn it around, Lizard? Is it hopeless, or is there a significant hope that you've seen from that team?
My problem is that it's not looking better. It's just on a downward slope. That's the issue. Like, I feel some teams, when they play against the best team versus the best opponents, they can shrug it off and they're like, okay, we lost, but we lost versus the best. We learned a lot. Let's continue playing. But for me, Pari Parni right now, they look like they're defeated a little bit. I think mentality is their biggest issue at the moment. They can't be making some plays like Depressed Kid. How hungry and are you for those kills when you go into that pit without BKB in that game 1 and Laguna the Enchantress, right? It's not something that you do. Those kind of plays don't happen even in pubs. And I'm sure that he's aware of it. I'm 100% sure that he knows, but it still happens. That happens when you're tilted. They need to refresh somehow.
How about you, Trent?
There's definitely hope, but yeah, it seems like they need a full team group up, little meeting, little session together to sort of figure things out. Or maybe they could try just like nuking their current strats and their scrims and just like trying new stuff and seeing if things click and try and do a fake honeymoon phase, like when a team first forms. Try going a different way in your scrims and really reaching a little bit to see if you can kind of break something with the team because something's clearly not working right.
Yeah, they could do an old married couple thing and wear disguises so that they kind of think they're all new people and get the honeymoon phase going. Pretend all to be nurses or something. We'll leave it there. We've got a great series coming up. We've got Na'Vi, who Ankrad ran through their various strengths to us. I'm very excited to watch them against Outsiders, another one of the strongest teams in the region. We'll be right back with this series very shortly. Don't go anywhere.